In every corner of the modern world, there is noise. It hums from our devices. It echoes from the endless scroll of screens. It seeps into our minds when we wake up, and it whispers in our ears when we try to sleep. Notifications blink like restless fireflies. Voices compete for attention. Our thoughts, once steady like rivers, now scatter like raindrops on glass. And yet, beneath this storm of distractions lies a truth. The power to stay focused has always been the dividing line between those who merely live and those who truly achieve. Imagine a sculptor standing before a massive block of marble. To the average person, it is just a stone, lifeless and cold. But to the sculptor, there is an image hidden inside. Every strike of the chisel is an act of focus. Every cut is a decision. Without discipline, without concentration, the stone remains unshaped, and the image remains trapped forever. But with focus, the sculptor frees the beauty within. That is what life asks of us. It hands us unshaped days, raw moments, chaotic opportunities, and says, "What will you carve?" The reason focus feels impossible today is not because we are weaker than those who came before us. It is because the world has changed the battlefield. Centuries ago, focus meant watching the horizon for danger, or staying steady through hours of reading by candlelight. Today, it means resisting the invisible pull of distractions designed to shatter attention into fragments. It means fighting against forces built to capture our eyes, our minds, and our very sense of time. But here lies the beauty, in the chaos of noise. Focus becomes more valuable than ever before. Like a lighthouse in the storm, it separates the drifting from the directed, the scattered from the purposeful. Those who learn to master focus in this age of endless interruptions will not only survive, they will rise. Think about it. Every great achievement in history, every towering invention, every book that outlived its author, every song that still echoes centuries later was born from focus. Leonardo da Vinci staring at canvases until night blurred into dawn. Thomas Edison working through 1,000 failures to capture light. Athletes practicing until their muscles carried memory like breath. Focus is the bridge that carries dreams from imagination to reality, and you, right now, are living in the same universe of choice. You can scatter your energy into hundreds of little pieces, chasing every flicker of distraction, and end the day exhausted but empty. Or you can choose to direct your energy like sunlight through a magnifying glass, sharp, steady, burning, bright enough to ignite change. That is the power of staying focused, but it won't come easily. Focus demands sacrifice. It asks you to turn down the volume of the world, even when the world screams louder. It asks you to say no, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about the one thing that matters. It asks you to be still when everything else is moving, and to believe that stillness will create movement of its own. In this storm of distractions, many will drift, but a few, the focused, the steady, the unshaken, will rise to greatness. And in their stories, we find a reminder. Focus is not just a skill, it is a choice. It is a decision you make every day, every hour, every breath, and the story of that choice is where our journey begins. Long before the glow of screens, before the endless noise of notifications, there was silence. A silence so deep that every thought echoed like thunder within the mind. The ancient world was not free of hardship, not free of chaos, but it was a place where men and women, armed with nothing but their determination, carved their mark into eternity. Their weapon: focus. Think of the philosophers of Greece. Socrates, sitting beneath the sunlit columns of Athens, choosing to focus not on riches, not on fleeting pleasures, but on questions. Questions that seemed simple, yet opened entire worlds. What is justice? What is virtue? How should we live? His focus turned conversations into legacies, and his words still shape the way we think thousands of years later. Or look at Alexander the Great, a young man who refused to let distraction steal his destiny. He did not split his attention between hundreds of small ambitions. He poured everything into one burning vision: to conquer, to unify, to build a world unlike any other. With focus sharper than the edge of his sword, he cut through armies, languages, and borders. Though his empire eventually fractured, the focus that built it ensured his name would never be forgotten. Travel east, and you'll find monks in the mountains of China, their focus refined through stillness. They would sit for hours in meditation, unmoving, while the world shifted around them. Their discipline in focus was so powerful that they trained both body and mind to move as one. Their silence became strength. Their stillness became energy. Their focus became a living example of mastery. Cross into India, and there stood scholars who wrote scriptures, scientists who mapped stars with naked eyes, teachers who taught wisdom that still guides humanity today. They had no laboratories filled with machines, no endless data streams to sort through, only observation, patience, and focus. To look at the night sky and chart its shifting patterns required more than curiosity. It required a mind that could wait, watch, and capture details others would overlook. In the deserts of the Middle East, scribes bent over parchment by the dim light of oil lamps. With every stroke of ink, they copied texts that carried knowledge across generations. One mistake could alter meaning, one distraction could destroy truth. So they focused. They let their hands become instruments of memory, ensuring that wisdom survived. And then, centuries later, in a small workshop in Florence, a man named Leonardo da Vinci stared at sketches that blended science and art, nature and imagination. His notebooks were not filled with scattered half-thoughts. They were filled with layers of observation, muscles of birds, flows of water, designs of machines, centuries ahead of his time. Leonardo's genius was not merely talent, it was focus, poured endlessly into curiosity, into seeing what others never noticed. Do you see the thread? Across centuries, across cultures, across empires, the common language of greatness was focus. These men and women did not have more hours than you. They did not have tools more advanced than you. What they had was the decision to give themselves fully to a single pursuit, to drown out noise, to silence distraction, and to chase one vision with everything they had. History is not written by those who tried a little bit of everything. It is written by those who narrowed their gaze, who poured their soul into one thing until the world could not ignore them. Now pause for a moment and imagine, what if the great minds of history had lived as many of us do today? What if Socrates had spent his days chasing endless entertainment? What if Da Vinci had abandoned sketches halfway because something new caught his attention? What if monks had traded stillness for distraction? What if Alexander had pursued dozens of hobbies instead of a single vision? The world as we know it would not exist. The cathedrals, the empires, the philosophies, the art, the science, all of it was born because someone chose to stay focused. That is the ancient gift we inherit. Focus is not a modern challenge. It is an eternal one. Every era demands that we fight distraction. Every generation tests whether we will scatter our minds or sharpen them. The difference between being remembered and being forgotten has always been measured by focus. And in the lives of those who shaped history, we find not only inspiration but also a challenge. If they could hold focus in the silence of their world, can we hold it in the noise of ours? Because the truth is this: the human mind has not weakened. The gift remains. The ability to focus is alive in you, waiting like an ancient spark. The question is whether you will ignite it, and so the story continues. Focus is not just an external battle against noise and interruptions. It is an internal war, one fought in the hidden corners of our minds, where no one else can see. And if we are honest, this is where most of us lose the fight. We tell ourselves we will stay focused. We make promises in the quiet of the night. Tomorrow, we say, tomorrow I will do better. Tomorrow I will finish what I start. But when the morning comes, distractions creep in like thieves. They disguise themselves as comfort, as entertainment, as rest. And before we know it, hours are gone, and the weight of regret presses down on us. It is easy to blame the world. Easy to say, if only things were quieter, if only life gave me more time, if only I had fewer problems. But the truth is sharper, harder to accept. The greatest enemy of focus is not outside us. It is within us. It is the voice that whispers, "You're not good enough. You'll fail anyway, so why even try?" It is the urge that says, "Just check your phone one more time. It won't matter." It is the fear that convinces us, maybe this dream is too big for someone like you. And yet, here lies the paradox. Every person who ever achieved greatness faced those same voices. The difference is not that they were immune to doubt. The difference is that they refused to listen. Think of Thomas Edison, who failed more than 1,000 times before perfecting the light bulb. Every failure could have been a reason to quit. Every mistake could have been proof for that inner voice that said, "You're wasting your time." But he stayed focused. He chose to believe that each failure was not the end, but the beginning of a step forward. His focus outlasted his doubt, and because of it, he gave light to the world. Or consider athletes who train for years, hidden away from crowds, their bodies aching, their minds weary. Distractions call out the easy path, the comfortable life, the tempting escape of giving up. But they silence those voices. They focus on the race, the field, the dream. And when the moment finally comes, when victory is theirs, the world calls them talented, forgetting the 1,000 battles they fought against, distraction in the dark. Here is the truth. Focus hurts. It hurts because it demands sacrifice. It hurts because it forces you to sit in silence while your doubts scream in your ears. It hurts because it asks you to let go of comfort, to walk away from distractions that promise pleasure but deliver regret. But that pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. The mind is like a wild horse, untamed and restless. Left alone, It runs in every direction, chasing every shadow. But with patience, with discipline, with focus, that wild horse can be trained. It can carry you farther than you ever imagined. So how do you fight the struggles within? You fight by noticing, by seeing the moment doubt whispers and answering back, not today, by catching the urge to quit and saying, I will finish before I rest, by turning small victories into proof that you are stronger than your distractions. You fight by choosing silence in a noisy world, by waking early when the world is still, and giving your best hours to the work that matters. By setting aside comfort in exchange for growth. You fight by remembering that every distraction steals a piece of your future, and every moment of focus builds it back. And you fight by holding on to the truth that even the greatest minds were not free of fear or doubt. They were simply stubborn enough to keep going anyway. This is not an easy battle. Some days you will lose. Some days the distractions will win. But the war is not decided in one day. The war is decided in persistence, in choosing to rise again, to focus again, to fight again, because the story of your life will not be written by the days you gave in. It will be written by the days you refuse to. And so, the greatest struggle you will ever face is not the world around you. It is the world within you. But if you win there, if you conquer distraction and silence doubt, then nothing outside you can ever stop you. The battlefield is waiting. The choice is yours. There is a kind of magic that happens when the world grows quiet, when the chatter fades, when the noise dissolves, when you place all your energy, all your attention into one single task. In that moment, the impossible becomes possible. What felt heavy suddenly feels light. What felt overwhelming becomes simple. What felt distant draws near. This is the hidden power of focus, not scattered across dozens of things, but sharpened into one. The power of a single task. Think of a magnifying glass held over a sheet of paper. Sunlight by itself is warm, gentle, scattered. It touches everything, but burns nothing. But when that same light is pulled together into a single point, it becomes fire. That is what happens when you focus your energy. Scattered, it warms. Concentrated, it burns. And fire changes everything in our lives. Most of us spend our days with scattered sunlight. A little energy here, a little effort there. Half-finished tasks, half-hearted commitments, half-lived dreams. We move, but we do not progress. We work, but we do not build. We live, but we do not grow. And then we wonder why we feel so tired, so empty, so unfulfilled. It is because scattered effort creates exhaustion, while focused effort creates transformation. History has given us countless examples of what happens when a person discovers the power of a single task. Isaac Newton sat beneath an apple tree and asked one question: why does the apple fall? That single question, focused on with relentless curiosity, unlocked the laws of gravity and reshaped the way we understand the universe. Marie Curie devoted her focus to the study of elements no one else dared to pursue. While others looked away, distracted or afraid, she looked deeper. That single pursuit, repeated day after day, gave birth to discoveries that saved millions of lives. Writers, too, have felt the force of this focus. A novelist, sitting at the same desk, writing page after page, line after line, while the rest of the world chased distractions, eventually creates a book that outlives them. Not because of sudden genius, not because of luck, but because of the quiet power of doing one thing again and again, until it was done. Athletes embody this truth in the simplest way. A runner does not train for 1,000 sports at once. He runs. He runs until his legs remember, until his breath becomes rhythm, until his heart becomes fire. That single task, repeated endlessly, transforms weakness into strength. And perhaps the most overlooked example comes from the ordinary, from the parent who chooses to give their full focus to a child, listening completely, not half distracted by a phone or a clock, from the student who decides to study one subject deeply instead of touching many things lightly, from the worker who chooses to complete one project with excellence rather than scatter effort across many with mediocrity. These moments, though quiet, why do we resist the power of a single task? Because silence feels uncomfortable, because our minds crave stimulation, movement, novelty. Sitting still with one thing feels unnatural in a world designed to pull us in every direction. The moment we try, we feel the itch of distraction. Our hands want to wander, our thoughts want to drift. But if we endure, if we breathe through the restlessness, if we allow ourselves to settle, something incredible happens. Time begins to bend. Minutes stretch. Hours pass unnoticed. This is what psychologists call flow, the state of complete immersion, when the world fades away and only the task remains. In flow, the impossible feels effortless. In flow, you create at levels you didn't know were possible. In flow, focus transforms not just what you do, but who you are. And here is the most powerful truth of all. Greatness does not come from doing everything. It comes from doing one thing with everything you have. When Beethoven composed his symphonies, he was not trying to write books or paint or invent machines. He gave his life to music. When Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel, he was not dividing his focus across 100 small projects. He climbed the scaffolding day after day, brush in hand, until heaven itself seemed to pour onto the ceiling. They understood what many of us forget: the moment of silence. The power of a single task is where masterpieces are born. So here is the challenge for you. Choose one thing, not 10, not 5. One. One dream that matters. One project that pulls at your soul. One change that could transform your life, and give yourself to it. Not for a moment, not for a day, but fully, completely, until it is done. The world will try to distract you. Doubt will whisper. Fear will knock. But if you hold steady, if you choose the fire of focus over the comfort of distraction, then what seems impossible today will become inevitable tomorrow. Because the truth is simple. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is not talent. It is not luck. It is focus, the power of one task, one choice, one life lived with intention. And in the silence of that choice, greatness is born. Focus is not given. It is not a gift. It is not something you stumble upon by accident. Focus is trained. It is forged. It is sharpened like a blade in fire. And just as a warrior does not enter the battlefield without hours, days, years of practice, neither can we enter the battle of life without training our minds. If you want to stay focused, If you want to rise above distractions, you must learn the warrior's path. Imagine a soldier standing in the middle of chaos. Arrows fly, swords clash, enemies scream, the earth trembles. And yet, he does not look left. He does not look right. His eyes are fixed on his target. His breath is steady. His mind is still. This is what the warrior knows, that chaos outside means nothing if there is calm inside. Now look at our world. Our battlefield is different, but no less dangerous. Notifications ring like arrows. Advertisements scream like enemies. News, gossip, noise, distractions, pulling us in 100 directions. And like the soldier, you must decide. Will you lose yourself in the chaos, or will you hold your ground? The warrior's path begins with discipline. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is training. It is choosing, again and again, what matters most. The warrior wakes before the sun, not because it is easy, but because it sharpens the mind. The warrior repeats the same drills, not because they are exciting, but because they build mastery. The warrior understands something the rest of the world forgets, that victory belongs not to the strongest, not to the fastest, but to the most disciplined. The same is true for your mind. If you do not train it, it will wander. If you do not guide it, it will scatter. If you do not command it, it will obey the world instead of you. But when you train your focus, you become the master. You learn to direct your attention like a sword, precise, sharp, unstoppable. How do you train this way? By embracing the small battles. When you feel the urge to check your phone while working, resist. That is a battle. When your body whispers for comfort, instead of finishing the task, push through. That is a battle. When doubt enters your mind, telling you to quit, to delay, to surrender, silence it with action. That is a battle. Each small victory strengthens your focus. Each small act of discipline forges the blade sharper. Each moment you choose to remain still in the storm, you step deeper into the warrior's path. And yes, it is difficult. The path is not easy. But think of the alternative. A life scattered, a life distracted, a life where every dream dissolves before it begins. That is the cost of not training. That is the cost of surrender. The warrior inside you knows better. This is why monks in distant mountains could meditate for hours without moving, without eating, without even opening their eyes. Not because they were superhuman, but because they trained. They treated focus as sacred. They sharpened their minds until silence became strength. This is why samurai could stand calmly before battle, aware of death, yet unshaken. They had trained their minds as much as their hands. Their enemies might swing a blade, but fear never pierced their focus. This is why inventors, leaders, and visionaries throughout history could endure failure after failure without losing sight of their goal. Because they had trained themselves like warriors, sharpening their minds against doubt, fear, and distraction. You too can walk this path. You do not need a sword. You do not need a battlefield. You need only your mind and the choice to train it. Start with the basics. Breathe deeply when the storm rises. Return to the task when distraction calls. Practice silence in a noisy world. Strengthen your ability to hold attention just a little longer, a little sharper, a little stronger every day. Soon, you will discover something incredible. Your focus, once fragile, will become unbreakable. Your mind, once scattered, will become like steel. And your goals, once distant, will draw closer, step by step, battle by battle. Because the truth is this: success is not won in one grand fight. It is won in 1,000 small battles. It is forged in the quiet victories no one sees. It is built in the discipline of a mind that refuses to bend. The warrior's path is not about fighting others. It is about mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, there is no force in the world that can stop you. So walk forward, steady and strong. Train your focus. Sharpen your mind. Live like a warrior. For in the end, the world does not belong to those who are distracted. The world belongs to those who are focused. Distraction is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't come with a roar. It doesn't announce its presence with thunder. It comes quietly, gently, like a whisper, a ping on your phone, a thought that says, just 5 minutes, a voice that tempts, do it later. And before you know it, hours are gone, days are gone, years are gone. You see, distraction is not just noise, it is theft. It steals your time, your energy, your future. And unless you learn the art of blocking it, you will never know the true power of your focus. Imagine this: you are building a castle. Each brick is a task completed. Each wall is a habit formed. Each tower is a goal achieved. But every time you let distraction in, a brick is stolen, a wall is weakened, a tower crumbles. And while you may not see it right away, soon the foundation breaks. This is why you must build mental armor. Think of your mind as a fortress, strong on the outside, calm on the inside. The gates must be guarded. The walls must be solid. The enemies, the distractions, must be kept at bay, because no castle survives when its gates are left open. But how do you build this armor? It begins with awareness. Most people live unaware. They don't even realize how often they are pulled away from their purpose. They live like puppets, their strings controlled by every notification, every buzzing sound, every small impulse. But the warrior of focus lives differently. The warrior sees the distraction as it arrives, and instead of surrendering, he says, "Not today. I have a mission." The first layer of mental armor is control of environment. Look around you right now. Is your environment helping you stay focused, or is it stealing from you? If your phone is constantly buzzing, silence it. If your workspace is cluttered, clean it. If people around you are pulling your attention away, set boundaries. A warrior does not fight on enemy ground. He creates his battlefield. You must do the same. The second layer of mental armor is control of habits. You cannot block distractions only once. You must train daily. Create habits that protect your focus. Set times when you work deeply, undisturbed. Set times when you rest so your mind can recharge. And guard these times like sacred rituals. Because once you treat your focus as sacred, the world will too. The third layer of mental armor is control of mind. Even if you silence your phone, even if you clean your space, distraction will still come from within. Thoughts, worries, doubts, memories. The wandering mind is often the loudest thief. To defeat it, you must learn to center yourself, breathe, return, remind yourself, this moment is mine. This task is mine. My focus belongs here. This is not easy. Some days your mind will want to escape. Some days, your body will crave the easy path. Some days, the temptation to wander will feel unbearable. But remember, the armor is built in layers, one choice at a time, one victory at a time. Great men and women throughout history knew this truth. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, ruled an empire, but still found time to write in his journal, blocking the noise of the world. Why? Because he wore mental armor, choosing discipline over distraction. Leonardo da Vinci, the great genius, had countless ideas and unfinished works, but the masterpieces he did complete came from moments of deep, undisturbed focus. He wore armor by shutting out the world. Modern innovators, athletes, leaders, they, too, protect their time like warriors. They block distractions not because they hate pleasure, but because they know the cost of losing focus. Every distraction you allow takes you further from your dream. Every moment you protect brings you closer. So, how do you build this armor? Let me tell you the secret. It is not about blocking the world forever. It is about mastering moments. 1 hour of pure focus is worth more than 10 hours of scattered effort. 1 day of undistracted work can be worth a week of half attention. This is the secret the world hides from you. It is not time you lack. It is focus. Your armor must be strong enough to hold that focus, even when the world is loud. And here is the most powerful truth. Distractions will always exist. They will never disappear. But once you wear the armor, once you train your mind, the distractions lose their power. They become whispers you no longer hear, temptations you no longer notice. And soon, the world that once controlled you will have no control at all. Imagine living like that. Imagine waking up every day, sharp, clear, unstoppable. Imagine sitting down to work and diving so deeply that hours feel like minutes. Imagine building your dream, brick by brick, with no enemy strong enough to break your walls. This is the warrior's gift. This is the art of focus. And when you master it, when you learn to block the world and protect your attention, you will discover something extraordinary. You are no longer a prisoner of distraction. You are the master of your destiny, because the truth is simple. Distraction is weakness. Focus is power, and the power is already inside you. All you need is to wear the armor. There was once a young man named Daniel. He was not a warrior. He was not a king. He was not a genius. He was just a dreamer. Daniel had a vision. He wanted to build something of his own, a business, a life of freedom, a path that no one else in his family had ever walked. He carried within him a fire, the kind of fire that burns quietly but powerfully, deep in the chest. At first, the fire drove him. He worked late into the night, learning, studying, building. Every moment mattered. He felt unstoppable. But then, the whispers began. A friend would call him out. "Come on, Daniel, just one night out. Work can wait." His phone would buzz. A new message, a new video, a new notification. His own mind would whisper, "You've worked enough. Relax. Tomorrow is another day." And slowly, the fire dimmed. One distraction here, another there. Hours stolen. Days wasted. Weeks gone. Daniel looked at his dream one day and realized he had not moved an inch. The vision was still there, but it was further than ever. His castle had no foundation. His hands were empty. His fire, once bright, flickered low. The weight of failure crushed him. He thought, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this dream isn't for me. Maybe I should just give up. But then, something happened one night. Unable to sleep, Daniel stumbled across an old story of warriors, samurai, who trained their minds as much as their swords. He read about how they would meditate for hours, how they would rise with discipline, how they would block the world to master themselves. A single sentence struck his heart. The battle is won in the mind before it is ever fought in the world. That night, Daniel realized the truth. It wasn't talent he lacked. It wasn't opportunity. It wasn't even time. It was focus. He had been giving his focus to everything but his dream. And the dream does not survive without attention. Just like a plant withers without water, a dream dies without focus. Daniel made a choice that night. He silenced his phone. He cleaned his desk. He set boundaries with his friends. He created rituals to protect his time. At first, it was difficult. His mind screamed for distractions. His body craved comfort. His habits fought against him. But he remembered the warriors. He remembered the fire. And so he fought, not with a sword, not with fists, but with focus. Days turned into weeks. The castle slowly took shape. Each small victory, each undistracted hour, each brick laid made him stronger. His confidence grew. His fire roared back to life. And then, one day, Daniel looked around and realized something powerful. He was no longer the same man. He was not scattered. He was not weak. He was focused. And that focus had transformed him. His dream, once a distant vision, was now real. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because he had mastered himself. Daniel's story is not unique. It is the story of countless dreamers. The difference is not in talent or intelligence or opportunity. The difference is focus. And so, I ask you this: how many dreams have died because of distraction? How many visions have crumbled because the fire was never fed? How many lives have remained ordinary because focus was never mastered? Don't let yours be one of them. Don't let your dream wither. Don't let your fire fade. The battle is here, right now, in your mind. And the moment you decide to guard your focus, to protect your time, to live like a warrior, that is the moment everything changes. Because the truth is simple. Distraction kills. Focus builds. And your dream, your life, your legacy is waiting for the one who chooses to stay focused. In every age of human history, there have been men and women who stood above the rest, not because they were stronger, not because they were richer, not because the world gave them an easier path, but because they learned one truth: the human mind, when focused, is unstoppable. Think about it. The great pyramids of Egypt, towering against the desert sun, were not built in a day. They were the result of focus passed from one generation to the next. Vision locked so tightly that even centuries could not break it. Lying on his back for years, painting the Sistine Chapel, stroke after stroke, day after day, while others mocked him, doubted him, or ignored him. Focus kept his hand steady. Focus turned frustration into masterpiece. Think of Thomas Edison, failing thousands of times before the light bulb finally burned bright. Do you think he succeeded because of luck? No, he succeeded because his mind was unshaken. His focus was a shield against failure, against doubt, against fatigue. And yet, here we are, In the modern world, where we possess tools more powerful than any generation before us, we have information at our fingertips, opportunities in every direction, and still, most people cannot stay focused long enough to finish what they start. Why? Because distraction has become the enemy of our age. Not an arrow, not a sword, not a storm, but the constant noise, the endless scroll, the whispering lure of later, the temptation of just 5 minutes. And so, we live in a paradox. We are surrounded by abundance, yet starved of achievement. We hold power in our hands, yet we let it slip through our fingers. We dream of greatness, yet we fall asleep in the arms of distraction. But here is the truth. Greatness still belongs to the focused. It always has, and it always will. Focus is not just about blocking noise. It is about becoming unshakable. It is about saying, "This is my mission. This is my vision." And nothing, not doubt, not fear, not temptation, will break my path. When you live this way, you move differently. You walk with purpose. You speak with clarity. You act with precision. You are no longer a leaf blown by the wind. You are the storm itself, shaping your own path. Philosophers understood this long before us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Stoics knew that life would throw chaos in every direction. But the one who guarded his focus, the one who ruled his mind, was truly free. In the East, the samurai lived by the principle of mushen, the mind of no distraction. In battle, they became pure focus, pure presence. Every swing of the sword was clarity. Every step was awareness. Distraction meant death. Focus meant life. And what about us? We are not building pyramids. We are not painting ceilings. We are not fighting with swords. But our battles are no less real. Our lives, too, demand presence. Our dreams, too, demand discipline. The philosophy of focus teaches us this. Distraction is weakness. Focus is strength. And the one who learns to stay focused cannot be stopped. So ask yourself, where is your focus today? Is it scattered on meaningless things, stolen by 100 tiny thieves? Or is it locked on your dream, sharp as an arrow, steady as the sun? Because here's the truth, what you focus on grows. If you focus on fear, fear grows. If you focus on doubt, doubt grows. If you focus on distraction, distraction consumes you. But if you focus on your vision, it grows stronger. If you focus on your mission, it takes root. If you focus on building brick by brick, then one day you will look around and realize you have created something unbreakable. Focus is not just a tool. It is a philosophy. It is a way of life. And when you embrace it, truly embrace it, you rise above the noise of the world. You rise above the scattered crowd. You rise above the weak whispers of later and tomorrow. You become unstoppable. Because here's the final truth. The world bends to the focused. Always has, always will. So walk forward today, not as a wanderer, not as a victim of distraction, but as a master of your mind. Live by the philosophy of focus. Guard it, sharpen it, treat it as sacred, and in the end, you will not just live, you will conquer. Life will test you, not once, not twice, but again and again. The path to your dream will not be smooth. It will not be quiet. It will not be free of chaos. No, the moment you decide to pursue something bigger than yourself, the storms will come. The storm of doubt, the storm of fear, the storm of distraction. They will come to knock you down. They will come to shake your faith. They will come to scatter your focus into 1,000 broken pieces. But here is the question: will you let them? Think about the flame of a candle. A gentle breeze can blow it out. It flickers. It wavers. It dies. But what happens when that flame grows into a wildfire? When it becomes a roaring blaze, consuming everything in its path? No storm, no rain, no wind can kill it. Your focus is that flame. At first, it is fragile. It can be blown out by a single distraction, a single moment of weakness. But if you guard it, if you feed it, if you protect it, it grows. It strengthens. It becomes a fire so powerful that no storm can extinguish it. The world will try to pull you in every direction. It will tell you that your dream is too far, that your goal is too hard, that your vision is too much. But remember this: the world only doubts those who dare to rise. Focus is the weapon that cuts through the noise. Focus is the shield that blocks the storm. Focus is the fire that keeps burning, even in the darkest night. History is filled with men and women who faced storms. Do you think they had it easier than you? No. They faced ridicule, failure, rejection, endless distraction. But they stood their ground. They fed the flame. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. 27 years. The world tried to bury him, silence him, break him. But his focus remained. His flame burned. And when the storm ended, he rose not as a prisoner, but as a leader. Helen Keller, blind and deaf, could have surrendered to darkness and silence. But she did not. She focused. She turned her weakness into strength. And her flame lit a path for millions. Every great story of triumph is not a story of luck. It is not even a story of talent. It is a story of focus, the refusal to let storms put out the fire. And so I ask you, what is your storm? Is it the distractions of your phone? Is it the voices around you telling you to quit? Is it the weakness inside you whispering for comfort? Or is it deeper? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. Whatever it is, remember, the storm is not here to destroy you. The storm is here to test you, to ask, how badly do you want it? Because if you can hold your focus in the storm, if you can protect your flame when the winds howl and the rains pour, then nothing can stop you. This is the truth. The storm is temporary. The storm is loud. The storm is violent. But the storm always passes. And when it does, only two kinds of people remain: those who let the flame die, and those whose fire burned stronger than ever. Which one will you be? If your focus is weak, the storm will break you. But if your focus is strong, the storm will make you. Do not fear the storm. Feed the flame. Because, in the end, success does not belong to the distracted. It does not belong to the scattered. It does not belong to those who surrender their attention to every small noise. Success belongs to the ones who stayed focused when it mattered most. And when the world looks back, they will not remember the storms you faced. They will remember the fire you carried. So hold the flame, guard it, grow it, protect it until it becomes unstoppable. For the storm will end, and when it does, your fire will light up the sky. there comes a moment when everything you've been fighting for, everything you've been working for, stands before you. It doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with cheering crowds. It comes in silence. It comes in that still moment when you realize you made it. You stayed when others quit. You held your focus when distractions screamed for your attention. You guarded your flame when the storm tried to blow it out, and now you stand in victory. The truth is, success is never about luck. It is never about chance. It is about discipline. It is about the power to keep your eyes locked on the prize when everything else tries to drag you away. Focus is not glamorous. Focus is not loud. Focus is not easy. Focus is quiet. Focus is lonely. Focus is the long nights, the sacrifices, the countless times you whispered to yourself, just one more step, just one more try. But focus is also freedom. The freedom to live life on your terms. The freedom to rise above the noise. The freedom to say, I did not waste my life chasing distractions. I chose my dream, and I made it real. Every person you admire, every story that inspires you, every legend that echoes through time, they all share one thing: focus, not talent alone, not luck alone, not opportunity alone. Focus. They saw their vision, and they never let it go. And so now, it is your turn. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now, guard your mind. Protect your energy. Hold on to the flame, because the world does not reward the distracted. It rewards the focused. You have a choice in this life. You can chase 100 meaningless things, or you can give everything you are to one meaningful thing, one dream, one vision, one fire dot. And when the distractions come, and they will, when the storms rise, and they will, remember this moment. Remember why you started. Remember that your fire is stronger than the storm. In the end, it is simple. The distracted will fade. The unfocused will be forgotten. But the focused will rise. The focused will be remembered. The focused will change the world. So light your flame, guard your flame, and let it grow into a fire that nothing can put out. Stay focused. Stay strong. And when history remembers your name, it will not be because you wandered. It will be because you never lost sight of the path. This is your story. This is your time. This is your victory. The power of staying focused is not just about success. It is about becoming unstoppable. And now the world is waiting for you to prove it.